This is a quick mini lesson on how to edit your writing. So once you've finished your draft and you've stretched out all your ideas and actually completed your draft, the next thing you want to think about is editing. Writers learn strategies to help them communicate their meaning as clearly as possible. This involves a focus on the conventions of writing and spelling. So one of the strategies often used for writers is CUPS. The letters for CUPS stands for capitalization, so using capital letters, usage, do the words agree, so does it make sense, punctuation, and your spelling. So today, here's a few tips that you're going to have available to you to edit your writing before you think about how you're going to publish. So over here, on the first slide, we have check that my writing makes sense. So some of the things you can do today before you actually move on to whether you're going to publish your writing is, number one, read your writing out loud to yourself. Often when you read it out loud to yourself, you'll pick up mistakes and things that you can improve. Number two, record myself reading, then writing. Record myself reading my writing, and then listen back to it. So you could do this on Seesaw, Photo Booth, or QuickTime. Third thing you can do is ask a friend to read out loud whilst you listen. So one of your writing partners in your group, you could give your writing to them and just ask them to read it back to you. And as they're reading it, you might actually notice some things that you could revise and change. The last tip on this slide is to use the text-to-speech function on your computer. If you know how to do this, you can give this a go. Otherwise, try one of the other 3 tips that are on the screen. Second thing you can do when editing your own writing is to check the accuracy of your spelling. So how do you do that? Well, there's a few different things you can try. When you're looking at the words that you've written down, sometimes people like to circle the words that they're not sure of. So maybe for those words that you are not sure about, if you have spelt them correctly, first tip is write the word a few different ways. And just usually, if you've misspelt a word, it usually doesn't look right, and it can usually tell which one it is just by writing it down a few different ways. Another thing you can try is to think about the meaning, the base, and the sounds you hear in the word. So write the word down. Do you know what the base of the word is? Do you know what it means? Maybe if you know the base of the word, or you sound out the word bit by bit, you might be able to figure out the parts of the word. Third tip is to ask 3 before me. There's lots of people in your group who will probably be willing to give you a little bit of support in this, so just ask some people around your table before you ask a teacher. And then the last tip there is if you have access to a MacBook or an iPad, you can actually get online and look at a dictionary, or you might have some of these words in your organizer at the very back near the word study section. The third tip for today when you're editing is to think about how you've used capital letters accurately. So there's an anchor chart on the left-hand side here. Okay, you can actually have a think about this one. Okay, sorry, this one on the left-hand side here. Whoops, lost my page, sorry. Let's go back. Okay, so this one here on the left-hand side, what gets a capital letter? So you can go through that poster and look at all the different ways that you will learn how to use capital letter. Things like months, days of the week, beginnings of sentences, etc. So the 3 tips for this part of editing are, number 1, look at the anchor chart on this poster, okay, and go through all of those. Do you have months of the year? Have you put all capitals at the start of the sentence? Did you capitalize the word I? Okay, if you haven't, go back and fix them. Number 2, the second tip is to ask a peer to read and underline any words that they notice have missing capitals. So ask your writing partner or someone on your table, do you mind just reading my draft for me? And do you notice anywhere where I've missed my capital letters? Make sure you've checked first though before you give it to your buddy. And then the last one would be very simple, read through your own writing. Look for missing capitals and just see if you can find any when you read a little bit slower. And then the last tip for today is to think about your punctuation. So if you look at the poster over here, there's an anchor chart again on the left-hand side. Look at this anchor chart, think about full stops, or period, we call them sometimes. If you're American, you might know them as a period or a full stop from other places. So this is a punctuation mark at the end of a sentence. A question mark is the second one that shows you that somebody is asking something. The third one is an exclamation point, which is at the end of a sentence that has a really strong feeling. And then the last one is a quotation mark, which shows when somebody is speaking. So you could, again, look at the anchor chart. You could ask a peer to read and circle some missing punctuation. and then you can go back and make the changes. Well, the last tip for this one is to read your writing slowly with expression and notice where that punctuation might fit. If it sounds like a question, is there a question mark there? You might need to put one in as you read. So just put a circle around things and make the changes as you go when you're reading slowly through your writing. And they are your tips today for punctuation. Give them a go and see if you can make some improvements to your writing before you think about publishing. Good luck!